The flat sleeve insertion technique is my preferred way of setting sleeves into the armscye. It's especially useful for if you're making small garments, such as children's garments, where that armscye gets to be kind of a small, narrow round, and stitching the side seam and then the sleeve underarm seam, and then trying to match that sleeve cap to the armscye seam gets very small and narrow, and it's difficult to get under the presser foot, and it's difficult to see if you have any weird folds or tucks in your sleeve cap as you're trying to ease that cap into the seam. The flat sleeve insertion technique leaves the side seam open and the sleeve underarm seam open. All you have to do is stitch the shoulder seam and then align your sleeve and your garment with right sides together. Prep your sleeve if you need to do any gathering between notches. Run your basting stitches on your sleeve cap if that is required by your pattern. And then you want to match if you have any, your pattern says to match the center points or any notches on your sleeve, match those. And if you're easing a lot of extra fabric and ease from your sleeve cap into your armscye seam, pull up on those threads as instructed by your pattern to ease that in, making sure our raw edges stay aligned. And we're just lining up that sleeve cap and whatever seam allowance your pattern uses, at this side edge, you want to make sure you're lining up the raw edge of your sleeve and your side seam at that seam allowance width. And this is great for patterns that have a lot of ease in the sleeve cap, because this allows you to really see and really manipulate what's going on in your sleeve cap. So once you get that all matched, we're just going to stitch using whatever seam allowance your pattern requires. And this allows this seam to lie more flat. So you can manipulate the fabric and allow everything to run under the presser foot. We're easing the fabric in. Sometimes when you have a children's garment, that armscye seam that you're setting the sleeve into is so narrow that you're unable to manipulate that fabric, and you get strange tucks in the armscye seam that you don't want. So this way you can tell exactly how those fabrics are matching up together. Once that sleeve cap is inserted, I have my nice smooth shoulder seam, and then you can simply fold your garment right sides together aligning the sleeve underarm seam and the side seam. And then you can stitch that seam all in one go. So it helps everything stay smoother, and it can join those processes for you when you're creating a garment.